All right, so for this video, I wanted to show something that I 3D printed. I found it online, so I had to do a little bit of modifications to the tubes to get them to fit together. But pretty much what it is, it's a model rocket. So I like the way the fins are designed. They look very nice and straight. So you just pretty much, you take your, you got to find the right parts. So like this guy, it's kind of hard to see it. Well, let me get some light. So this guy has a little, I guess, a spot to block the rocket tube or the rocket motor from coming out. So you slide the rocket motor down there and it kind of blocks it from going all the way up. I'm going to glue it in place anyway, but then you get your next piece and then you put it on like so. And like I said, on this one I had to modify it a little bit, just, sanding and stuff like that. Take your next piece and then you lock that in place. So you'll pretty much, you can glue it if you wanted to, make it nice and straight. That way it kind of gets its rigidity from that. And then I had to sand these two guys down to make it fit. But what I did was I did this one a little bit looser because I'm thinking about doing an ejection charge, but seeing as this rocket is going to be a 5/16, I'm not sure if I get enough pressure to eject the parachute, but so this is pretty much it. It was supposed to be a whistle rocket type nose cone. This guy, I don't see it whistling only because the holes up top are very tiny and I don't see any wind getting in. But you could see pretty much through the tip of the nose cone that there's little vent holes, and that should work, but I don't really think that's going to work out. Now, I do want to do a nose cone this type. I could just extend this and fix it and then get it to fit in this guy, but because this design is all one piece, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the thing I like about this rocket is that it's sizable, I guess, so I can actually change the size of it to a 1/2 inch rocket if I wanted to. But what I wanted to do was a 5/16 because I kind of like messing with these little rockets. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to fix the inside here to allow me to slide the rocket all the way in, because that's not supposed to be extended like that. But that's an easy fix. I can just resize that hole with the drill, then I can slide the 5/16 in, and that'll actually lock it in place and get it nice and flush with the bottom of the rocket. One thing I did want to do was I wanted to test a sugar rocket versus black powder. I did make a little 5/16 rocket jig that you can place the rocket into, then you ignite the rocket on a scale, and then you can measure the thrust by using the grams or the pounds of force. So this one right here, it was just my first print, so I'm going to reprint it to get a tighter fit of the rocket. But pretty much you place this on top of the scale, the rocket goes in it, and then you ignite the end, and then as it's pressing down, you'll get a reading on your scale. You have to record that because it's going to be moving and it's going to vary, but you take the average, I want to say, of the thrust, and that kind of gives you the amount of thrust you're going to be receiving. Also, you can record and get burn time. Because the way it works with rockets, I'm not sure. So the way it works with these rockets is the burn through the core has the most thrust on it, and that's what gets your power. And this little core right here, it burns very quickly, so that's why most rockets, 1/2 inch, these guys will burn for about maybe a second or two because it's initial burn and it burns quickly. And then the top end, which is the solid part, is usually where you'll put your color, you'll put your delay mix, you'll put anything in between there that you want, depending on what you want the rocket for. Now they do make end burners, which is just going to be your nozzle hole, and for that you have to use really pretty fast black powder, because you don't want to use a slower black powder for an end burner because then it won't fly as high. So a lot of times people really do prefer a cord rocket, because if you think about it, it's not very hard to compact a flat clay plug and then just drill a hole through it and make the end plug. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a hole on the clay plug, and then you're just getting thrust through the gases that are exiting it. So that's why a lot of times you'll see that when people are making rockets out of ground blooms, it tells you to drill maybe like 1.5 inches in, and that's so that way it creates this core piece here that provides that power and thrust. But once the rocket reaches apogee, that little delay will burn, and then the ejection charge goes off, and then it sets off the parachute. I do want to do a parachute recovery system for this guy because I do want to get it back. I think this print, it only took me, I think it was like 3 hours, and not a lot of plastic wasted, so I can print more. You can make these from cardboard and stuff like that, and then you can kind of glue the wings on, or the fins, with the fin jig. But I kind of like this design. I may just end up keeping it like this, and then, you know, with the 1/2 inch rocket, and then maybe add a bigger nose cone. Obviously it looks kind of weird because this little tiny rocket compared to this guy, but you know, if I was to use like a 1/2 inch rocket, put a nose cone up top, it wouldn't look too bad. But pretty much I'm gonna work around with this stuff and see what I can make. For now, I'm doing the 5/16 rocket just because I like these little tiny rockets, but I'm gonna move up in the sizes pretty soon. I know this guy was just something I made. It was just a video that I wanted to test out. And then I ended up burning this flash powder because I wanted to see what it was. And it turns out it was actually red flash, which it'll still explode. It's not, just because it's not normal flash, it's not gonna explode. The red flash will still explode, but it's not as vigorous burning as a perchlorate and a, what was it, perchlorate and aluminum. So that's the differences, but it'll still explode because I've used that red flash before in my flash crackers, and it sounds pretty good still. So yeah, this guy here, like I said, I can put a little bit of tape, stick that in there, or I can just reprint this with a smaller inner diameter and get it to fit real snug so the rocket doesn't go anywhere. I want to do a test between sugar and black powder. I want to see what the difference is on those for thrust and see how much power each makes. I honestly think that black powder is going to burn a lot better, so that's pretty much where I'm at. But anyways, that's it for now. And once I actually get a rocket put together and get this guy going and do a little parachute ejection and all that stuff, I'll post another video later. But anyways, thanks for watching, and until the next video.